Fans of the Horus Heresy Legiones Astartes armour and the return of classic vehicle designs, thank you very much for joining me for an out-of-the-pack review. And today we are looking at a cool, unexpected and really interesting model. And this is the Space Marine Legion Sabre Tank hull from Forge World and the accompanying weapon sets. So the Vulcan Seca, the Neutron Blaster, and the Anvilus Snub Autocannon, or snub-nosed autocannon, perhaps you should say. So this is a really interesting model, this. So this has been released today, so it's Friday the 6th of December, and this model was a bit of a surprise to everyone in the Heresy community because there'd been no images or previews given over the preceding months, and then all of a sudden, a week ago, it appeared. It looks brilliant. It's a great looking vehicle, and also it's a classic design. It's a reimaging of a classic design. So for those of you who don't know, the Sabre Tank Hunter was one of the Tony Cottrell scratch build models from way back in the early days of Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader, first edition as we know it. And it was featured in a White Dwarf article, so White Dwarf 120, where the Sabre was a scratch build and it was built with mainly a Rhino hull or Rhino side parts with the Land Raider front plate, some plastic card base, and then a piece of plastic tubing or perhaps brass tubing for a autocannon. And that was a Sabre, and that article was in White Dwarf 120, as I say, which interestingly was released in December 1989. And oh, hello, here we are in December 2019, exactly 30 years ago. A coincidence? I don't think so. I'm like Inquisitor Cryptman. I don't believe in coincidences. So yeah, I think the timing of the release is a nice little nod to, well, those people who remember the first edition game. Here we have a full set. This is sold as a full set, but you can all buy them individual. The idea of the kit is you buy the hull and then whatever weapon system you want. The weapon system is a gun and, like, I don't know, the weapon gubbins that sits on top of a tank. So a little bit like, say, the Sicaran Venator, how you have like a power coil up on top. That is the idea behind this kit. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to unbox the Sabre hull, unbox the weapon systems, I'm going to take a look at them, see what it's about, have a bit of a peruse over this really cool looking tank design, and also see what the quality is like. Is this a good kit? So that's the plan. Let's get into it. Right, what we'll do first is we'll remove the weapon sets and we'll open up the actual Sabre tank hull itself. So this comes in one of these fairly compact Forge World boxes. Same sort of approach here with this tank as I think they had with the Carnodon tank for the Solar Auxilia. It is a Rhino sized tank, and I really think these are very neat, this size of tank in 30k, because it sort of bridges that gap between the heavy tanks, so say the Land Raider, etc., and say the Rhino itself. It fills that, you know, in between ground in terms of tank capability. So in terms of what we get a nice big juicy box of parts, and then we get a nice set of instructions. And oh yes, look at that. What a gorgeous design. So many great design cues here. We've got Land Raider style, we've got Rhino style, we've got some Sicaran looks, even arguably, well, I think there's obviously Land Raider in it, but even arguably maybe a nod to the Fellblade as well. So yeah, looks great, great looking tank. I really like it. If you're a fan of a fluff, have a pause and have a read. So there's an exploded diagram of the tank. The parts in blue are the weapon systems that they've sold separately. So a fairly simple looking construction. Pretty straightforward, nothing too complex there. Actually very simple. Some nice weapon options. You get these Sabre missiles and you get a selection of cupola mounted weapons. So a Volkite culverin, a heavy flamer, a heavy bolt gun and a multi-melter. Excellent selection. And perhaps if you don't need them all, you've got some options to use on other vehicles in your Space Marine Legion list. So this is how it goes together. Super simple build. really is very easy to do. And here, this sort of latter section of the instructions, it just talks about the weapon options as well. So yeah, nice and simple. I should probably stop saying simple. So I might have jinxed my construction. So let's take a look at the parts. So we have the customary packing sheet. So this is packed on the 21st of October by MW. So hopefully all the bits are here. And let's take a look at the bits. So first we have the upper hull. And look at this, such a cool design, harking back to the original Rhino front plates from the first edition kit. So this is beautifully cast part. It's very very clean. There's not a lot of gunk on it. So in terms of like the lineup, well, we've got a little bit of displacement there, a little bit of displacement there. The rear looks okay. These faces are going to be hidden, so probably not in need of any noticeable work there, I don't think. So that looks good. You'll have to excuse the lighting because the lighting is coming in. There's a window in front of me, so there may be a bit of shadow because of the position of the sun in the sky. Yeah, I do apologise for any shadows. This is the lower hull. So fully detailed on underside vehicles. I don't always fully detail the underside of vehicles. This sort of like drive unit and front section, reminiscent of Land Raiders and the Sicaran tanks. So I do like that feature. Actually, I'm going to put that, there we go. If we put it that way, then we've got nice light on it, haven't we? Right, what's next? Let's do this bit, which is the rear hull. Okay, that looks pretty good. Nice and smooth and clean again, so clearly see these are fresh new molds. We have the first of two exhaust stacks, so classic Space Marine styling, very nicely cast. Yeah, absolutely perfect that. And then another one here. Same again, perfectly cast. And like, you know, those classic design cues for Space Marine power plants on their vehicles. Yeah, those look great. I was really pleased when this got announced. I think the design, I put a post up on Twitter when the pre-orders went up and it got a lot of retweets and a lot of likes. And looking at the design on this tank, you can see why. So it pushes all the right buttons for Space Marine Legion tanks. Let's now look at the supporting parts here. So we have the commander's hatch and a couple of other items there. We have the first two Sabre missiles. Little bit of a seam to clean up around those. Not too bad. Nice design here. So we've got the two bits of rear track. These are going to attach onto these, so we don't have that unpleasant attachment point on the final detail from the casting key. So that's good. So the third Sabre missile now, there's supposed to be four, so hopefully there's, there we go. There is one kicking around. I was a little bit worried. We might be missing one, but yes, it's good. They look really cool, those. And those are they're a variant on the classic Hunter Killer missile. Right, so I'm going to take these two out now. Right, so the hull sides, the track sides. Yeah, these look awesome. I love the design on these. So cool. Little bit of an offset there, so that will need filling and reshaping. That side's a bit slipped, but not too difficult to fix. Yeah, it looks great though, doesn't it? I wonder if, oh, can't quite get it to attach with the key, but there you go, that's what it's going to do. Yeah, lovely. Put that down there. And then the opposite side is this one. Again, both these parts very dry and grease free, so they've been turned out of the molds really nicely. That's nicely lined up on this one. bit of cleanup to do around here. But overall, really nice. Really nice. So there we have all the parts from the hull. So now let's move on to the weapons. So we will start with the snub autocannons, the Anvilus snub autocannon. This is kind of like the default weapon. They're not particularly expensive. I think these are they 65 points base, including the Anvilus autocannon. The Anvilus autocannon has the same weapon stats as the autocannon battery on the Radio Dreadnought, although it only has half a range and it isn't half a shots, half a range, isn't twin linked. So not quite as punchy as the Dreadnought version, but much more mobile being on the tank platform. And let's do this first. So this is the actual autocannon itself. And this is designed to attach to this mounting point here. So as you may have guessed, this is going to be a magnet job for me. That's beautiful. So a little bit of seam to clean up there. Got a classic recoil spring design for the autocannons. Yeah, see it's on a lot of Imperial vehicles. Nice muzzle brakes, nice crenulated ends. Those are going to be great once they're bored out. That'll look brill. And then the I guess the ammunition hopper as well, which is going to mount here on the upper hull of the tank. Yeah, that all looks good. A little sensor. So let's now move on to the Neutron Blaster. So this is a lower powered version of the Neutron laser from the Sicaran Venator. Not hard hitting, strength 9. Not ordnance, only AP2, but it still retains the all-important shock pulse rule, which is good. So let's look at this. So I kept all the design cues from the previous weapons. So the Valdor Tank Hunter, the Cerberus Super Heavy Tank Hunter, and then the Sicaran Venator itself. That looks awesome. And then the actual power pack itself. Yeah, it's really cool. So much fun to have with this kit and magnets. And then we will move on to the fan favourite at the moment, which is Volkite Sabre Strike Tank Vulcan Seca. So another Renaissance, I believe a Renaissance cannon name, Seca. I can't remember how large a Seca cannon was. I used to know the various sizes fairly well, but Seca eludes me. I suspect it wasn't the biggest, which was a culverin. So this is kind of like a snub-nosed autocannon. Not a snub-nosed autocannon, a snub-nosed Volkite culverin. It only has a range of 24 as opposed to 45 is the norm. However, it has 6 shots as opposed to 4. So, you know, it's trading range for rate of fire. But yeah, really nice. All the rules are currently available to download on the Forge World website. So now this isn't so nice. So I've got a mold slip running across all these coils. Yeah, I'm not sure if that can be fixed. That's exactly the place where you don't want a mold slip. That's they're very difficult to put right. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. It's not the best. It might fix, we'll see. Looks good though, the weapon, and got some design cues similar to the Volkite Falconet that we saw on the Radio Dreadnought a few weeks ago. And then finally the power pack for the Volkite weapon. This looks really cool. Those of you who know the Glaive Super Heavy Tank will recognise these sort of design cues and from other large scale and smaller Volkite weapons for the power pack design. So yeah, really nice. Love the details on that. So fantastic, yeah. Well, so there you have it. The Space Marine Legion Sabre Strike Tank, a surprise and very welcome addition to the Horus Heresy vehicle lineup. At the moment, this has only got rules for 30k. It sits in the fast attack slot, which is really nice, so I think that's a good place to put this tank, and it is a fast tank, so it sits there perfectly. And most important of all, it just looks brilliant. I love the design features and the style and just how they've pulled cues from other iconic Space Marine Legion vehicles. Yeah, so 10 out of 10 Forge World. Nice kit, very well cast, with the one exception of that Volkite. We shall see how I do with trying to fix that up. But overall, very nicely done. And it looks very straightforward to build as well, which is nice. There we have it then, the Sabre Strike Tank. I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing review. Please do share your thoughts and observations, as always, on this tank in the comment section. I'll be very interested to hear those. And yeah, again, I just love that they've released this 30 years, almost 30 years to the day, that original article appeared in White Dwarf. So top nostalgia points there to Forge World for doing that. But other than that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.